Okay, welcome to the Doing It with Purpose podcast, where I'm your host, Cornelius T. Summers, aka Lil Cuddy, and of course we have the co-host in the building, Greg Peterson, aka the Deep.
Hey,
And today we're coming to you from the studio. We're back at home, not on the road.
yeah,
So we're in the small town of Leesville, but we wanted to end season one with our grand finale. And how fitting was it to have our mothers here to celebrate upcoming Mother's Day? This episode will be released on Mother's Day, so we pray that any mother, any child who gets an opportunity to watch this episode that they really take advantage to experience and celebrate their loved ones. We know that many have lost their mothers and their mothers are no longer here. And we pray for those who are hurting, who are still grieving, or who are still recovering from the loss of their mom. But we are fortunate today to be able
yeah,
to give our mothers their flowers while
yeah.
they're still alive. And so we want to welcome to the show my mom, and I'll let Gregory Peterson introduce his mom, but I'll introduce my mom, the one and only Alma Jean Dukes, maiden name Allen, co-owner of the Tom Tom Club. No, that was okay.
Leave
Never
that out
mind.
of there, man. We
Okay,
ain't gonna
Greg.
go to the
Okay,
Tom Talk
I'm
Club. It's too
sorry.
early to go
I'm
to Tom
sorry.
Talk
I'm
Club.
sorry.
Yeah.
But no, I introduced my mom, who is one of my superheroes. Right. All of my life, I've watched her work two jobs. I've watched her be an awesome sibling, an awesome child, awesome mom, even when she had to correct me and put me in my rightful path. But
She was doing the
nonetheless,
right thing.
yeah, oh yeah. But nonetheless, I was appreciative of everything. And so if I've never said it in front of hopefully millions, because we hope that this show will go to a bunch amongst millions. But thank you, Mom, for all that you have done, all that you are doing. You're an awesome grandmother. And so I don't want to talk too much, Greg. I'm gonna let you introduce your superhero.
All right. So I want to bring to y'all Miss Betty Jean Sugick. Pretty much my everything. She's the reason for me being here. She's the reason for, me being the person, the man that I am today, or whatever. So with that being said, Miss Betty Jean Sugick, Um, anything you want to say? Anything you kind of comment before I start telling the world about
This upbringing.
yeah, this
Okay,
upbringing that I
okay.
had. Yeah.
No,
No,
no, I don't have anything to say.
you don't have anything? Okay, I get it
We're
out.
gonna get some
Yeah,
words out
yeah.
your answer. We're gonna get.
Other than nobody called me Betty Jean anymore. They just said Betty Subject.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
And
Right.
half of the people can't pronounce that, so it don't matter.
they can't pronounce the surgery part, but
Nah, I always tell them, as long as me and my husband know,
yeah.
That's all that
that's all
matters.
that matters.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So Alma Jean, you don't have anything to say? Start out.
Not at this time.
Not at this time.
So listen,
All right.
growing up, Greg, you
Yeah.
and I both know
Yeah, exactly.
on many levels they were more outspoken than this.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh,
because it's cameras and
yeah.
microphones and headsets, we want to get a little
Yeah,
shot.
they gonna come through for us though.
Oh
They gonna
yeah,
come through
oh
for us.
yeah.
But like I was saying earlier, Betty Jean, she's pretty much, man. Well, she pretty much and still is, pretty much, my everything, man. She's the reason for me being the man I am today, or whatever. She pretty much got on me a couple years ago because before I used to give her like a Mother's Day card and a Father's Day card, and she was like, "Boy, I ain't your daddy or whatever." So but I had to just stop, and I just let her know, hey, man, if it wouldn't be for you, man, I wouldn't be the person that I am.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. She just the work ethic, her working, taking care of me and my sister and baby Jesus,
Oh yeah.
Jermaine Peterson.
We got
That's
one
a
of
whole
them in the
nother story
household. Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but she's my everything. I had to just tell her last week or whatever, man. She got on me about doing some stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And I told her, hey, man, regardless of what go on, how it go on, I would never choose anyone over you. Never. Hey, it ain't even possible.
That's and I hope every person would feel that way about their mom.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, not everyone does, and that's
Mhm.
okay. But I want to thank Aunt Betty Jean for raising you for
Yeah.
the man that you are, because
Yeah.
who you are to me, if you saying you are who you are because of her, then
Yes.
I think you don't want to thank Aunt Jean for raising me, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
Alma Jean, hey,
Okay.
hey, all I'm gonna say about that, Alma Jean did the best she could with what she had, man. Once you left Alma Jean, hey, Alma Jean know I'm praying for her every day, man.
Okay.
Every day. Yeah.
Okay. I'm, you
Every
know,
day.
so you supposed to just automatically chime in and say, yeah, I
No,
want,
no,
and
no,
I
no,
want
no,
to
no,
think,
no,
oh,
no,
you
no.
don't want
Because
to
I
think,
know Alma
okay.
Jean did the best she could with what she had. Hey, I know she did the best. Yeah.
So, okay. So I have a series of questions, and I know Greg has some
Yeah.
questions, and so we want to get knee deep into this motherhood. And
Yeah.
so, for both of you all, and we'll Aunt Betty Jean is the elder of the panel today, so we'll let her go first if that's okay. And then every now and then we'll throw you under the bus too, Mom. But as I stated earlier, when we was talking about the type of questions, one of the first questions that I would have is the very first notification, indication, or the acknowledgement that wow, I'm getting ready to be a mother. What was that like?
Me?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Oh, well, it was like a great experience, because Greg was like the second child. His sister was the oldest,
Yes, ma'am.
and Greg was next.
I was the best child.
And
of them.
Greg looked so much like his daddy, and everybody had him spoiled.
Yes, ma'am.
And they still do to this day. Jermaine came along, and then now Jermaine done took his place because they think Jermaine. I think they call him Baby Jesus.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
baby
ma'am.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
glad she
They call
said that
him
on there.
They call him Baby Jesus. But my children, I just want to thank God for them.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't.
It's okay. It's okay.
Don't start me.
As we say in church, hey, take your time. We expect this episode, and that's why when Greg and I was talking about it, we said, man, we ought to shoot a particular episode and let that be the finale. And those individuals weren't available this weekend. I said, Greg, it's more fitting that we end season one with a bang.
Yeah.
And I can't find a better way because we've had everybody from basketball coaches to business owners to we've had a lot of people
Yeah.
on that we really admire. We really think they're doing some great things. But when we started to do this, I mentioned it to Greg. He was like, "We'll see, man. I don't know. I don't do a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Hey, I can't get him to be quiet. You see how before we tried to start the day, he on the phone with this
Yeah.
person and that person. So he's growing into that. He might be on WIS News for you know. He got a second career.
Yeah.
But we expect this episode for us to take a little deep breath. I got the tissue back here because that's what I spoke of earlier. How vulnerable do we want to be? I have kids now. Never in a million years. I knew I always wanted to be married. I knew I wanted to own a home. Hey, this kid thing I could have did without, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful for
So
what
Alma
it
Jean
is.
probably was thinking the same thing.
Hey, listen,
Exactly.
listen. If I knew, as the old folks say, if I knew now, or if I knew then what I knew now, oh my goodness,
You
I'd
would
have
still
waited.
have kids.
Yeah.
You
So
Just
Alma
now
Jean, he
starting
just
to
giving
have
back what he dealt to you. That's all
Yes,
that is. That's
yes.
the way I see it.
So we're gonna try it again until. Oh, you know what, Mom? You.
But no, okay, before she say that,
Okay.
just with her, she got kind of choked up or whatever. And I would say because the love that she had or have for us, it's just unconditional, man. And I was thinking about this this week when knowing the show was coming up or whatever. And I said on the previous podcast with my wife or whatever, Michelle, when growing up with my mom, it wasn't like we was like touchy feely. We was hugging and she was saying, "Hey, I love you," and just all that stuff or whatever. And see, that's how Michelle is.
Yeah.
Michelle, she like touchy feely. When I leave, she gonna be like, "Hey, I love you," or when I come home, she gonna be like, "I love you." See, Mama wasn't like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is with her, and I thought about it, it just came to me. Betty Jean had that what they call it, agape love.
Agape love. Yeah.
Yeah, she had that agape love. It was just a just love unconditional, like Jesus or whatever.
Yeah.
And she just loved us, man. And we didn't have to hear it. We didn't have to feel it. We just knew that she loved us. She did everything she could for us, or just everything that was possible for her to do for us. Because man, and
So-
we didn't want for anything.
Is it a sandhill thing, or you think?
It
And
might
the
be.
reason why I ask is because the very same thing that you're saying is what I experienced from my
it
mom.
might be.
even in the chastisement moments.
Yeah.
You know, when she was of course, you know about the situation when she put me out one time.
Yeah.
But even in the midst of doing,
And she loved you to death.
She loved me to death because
yeah.
when she put my clothes in the trash bag, they was folded up.
Yeah.
They weren't just thrown in the trash bag.
Hey, yeah,
so she sent me to you. Hey, when I looked at I got there after took a shower that night, my underwear and stuff was folded up in there. I had to go, but she wasn't just gonna throw me out there.
Exactly.
So it's that unconditional love that you know, my oldest daughter's 22, will be 22 this year. Ayana's 19, will be 19 in June.
Yeah.
CJ will be 15. And I'm still at 43 trying to figure out to give my kids what my mom gave me.
It's hard, man.
That's been my biggest struggle. And I know there's a direct difference between being a mother and a father.
Yeah.
I know it is. But whether mother or father, I just want to be able to give that level of love that when I was at my worst, I could remember who my mom was. Mom, that's my mom's favorite motto. She'll text me and be like, hey, I know you're going through this, but hey, remember who your mom is.
Yeah.
And that's normally going to make me cry and make me tear up. But when I remember who my mom is, I remember her as a young lady. She had me, she was 17.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to work with her. And she worked at a mailing company. And I could walk or whatever. I don't remember being able to write my name, but she would sit me up there at her job while she's working and talk to me or read a book to me or whatever. So I remember those things, and it's like, that's why I love my mom the way that I love her, because as you know, that's the way she first loved me.
Oh yeah.
So it's just
and see, like with me, the love has actually just grown because of the fact that you really wouldn't think about it, because like now we'll get on the phone and be on the phone for an hour. Hey, she'll be talking about people, not me, but that's a whole other story. But hey, we'll be talking about God, man. Yeah, we'll be talking about God. We'll be talking about Jesus, and you know, just the Bible and all this stuff, man, whatever. And I say to this day, and I've been saying for years, hey, when I'm going through something, I got something going on, normally I'm gonna call her, because she about the closest person that I know that's to God or whatever. That's the way I look at it. And, you know, I can depend on her, and I know Alma Jean the same way.
We have revival mornings.
Yeah, exactly.
If I catch her on the morning, she could have said something to me Sunday afternoon, and then I'll think about it and I'll go to sleep on it. And as soon as I get up in the morning, I call her, and she was, hey, Cornelius. Only person that still really called me my proper name. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, Mom, what you said yesterday, that I called at 6:45.
Yeah.
When she was at another location working. 8:30, we still on the phone. We done took collection. We done had communion, altar call, all in one conversation. So those conversations are definitely necessary. Appreciated.
For sure. And see, I told CJ like here, last week before last, man, when everything was going on, I was like, hey, homeboy, man, hey, you good, man, because just knowing your mom, knowing your grandma, hey, homeboy, you got praying people in your family, man. Hey, you covered, man. Covered. That's the way I felt like, with Jean, man. Hey, homeboy, I felt like, I didn't know it at the time, but I just felt like I was covered. Oh yeah. I felt like, she was praying, and because, like now, when anybody leave the house, man, or Michelle talking to anybody, she, hey, be careful. Hey, be careful. As soon as they leave, hey, be careful. Cam leave every day. Hey, be careful. Yeah. But Jean wasn't saying be careful, but I knew, I was covered. We can go out and hang out, and
you saw them angels up there on Truex Road. They was already waving. Exactly. You finna leave sand here.
Exactly. They was already waving.
Your mama sent me down here to get on my job before you even left the house. So no problem.
I'm listening at y'all talking. I was thinking about Cornelius. Cornelius has always been like a nice, respectful young man.
Cornelius Summers?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Cornelius Summers.
There's two of us in here, but I'm working on him.
And anyway, Greg is like my go-to person.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, when you have, and that's what I thank God for. I thank God for that. I have my husband that I complain to sometimes, and I'm pretty sure he get tired of me complaining. But Greg is like my go-to person that I think I had an issue the other week, and I was praying. Y'all excuse me if I start crying.
Oh yeah, you okay?
Yeah.
I was praying. I was in the bathroom, and I was saying, you know what? I'm so tired of this right here. So I called Greg. And I don't remember what the question I asked you, what we talked about, or whatever, but we talked, and it was supposed to be like a few minutes. But we was, like he said, he was on the phone for hours, and we were talking. And that's what I love about my son, and I love about that part about him. But Jermaine is the down to earth person.
Yeah,
you know, He always
Okay,
got
I
a
like it.
joke, or he always got some kind of laugh or something. And he don't want to me, say things serious. You know, he's a serious person, but it's not like when I talk to Greg. And I want to I want to put out there that, you know, we know for a fact that the world is not like it used to be.
Yes,
You know, we can't discipline our children like we want to. We can't say things to our children like we want to, because it was an incident the other day that I really wanted to say something. And it's something, you know how you have this person, if y'all are in the back of your mind, better than you better mind your business. This is not your child. And so I said, you know, I feel so sorry for him that we cannot discipline our children to grow up to be like Alma Jean and my son.
yes,
You know, and I know she feels the same way. I feel that we are so proud of you all, that you all are where you are now, and we just thank God that's one less thing that we have to worry about.
Oh, yes,
And so we don't want to say that you all are so perfect, because God didn't make nobody perfect.
Nah.
But
Far
you have
from
your
it.
issues also, but it's one less thing that we have to worry about, because there are so many moms that are worried about their children. So many moms that want to do stuff and want to. They raised the children right, but they went down the wrong path,
Yes, ma'am.
and they can't get them back in there. And that's why I say I thank God every day for my husband and my children, my two boys. And I got it. I cannot sit here and name all the children that I've had in my life.
Oh, yes,
Because I
ma'am.
used to do foster care, and I was telling my aunt the other day, if I was able and capable of doing foster care, I would do it right this day. That's telling you how much I love children. I would have, I mean, I think at one time we had like 10 children in the house.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And it wasn't for my husband. We loved it. I mean, and they used to laugh at us at church, because they used to call me, what's the name with all the children?
Little Bo Peep.
Yeah, Little Bo Peep with the children and stuff. and then they talk about how, but God blessed us. Y'all, nobody knows
Oh yeah.
how God blessed us with those children.
Oh yeah.
Because Walter was working like one job, and I had retired. But God, He did it.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
God did
yeah.
it, because there's no way in the world that we could have had all those children in the house at one time, and all of them had hair done and had what they needed and had food to eat, and we had plenty of food, and when you do what God tell you to do, there's somebody always in the background
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
have your back.
That ram in the bush.
Yeah, he always had that ram in the bush. The people, do you need anything? How can I help you? And even at my church, I thank God for my pastor, and I thank God for some of the people that at Friendship, that they had our back when we had those children, because they would help us out with the children and stuff. And we have, I have people that I have came through, friends, like lady friends and associates of sisters in church, Christ, I would call them,
Yes, ma'am.
that if it hadn't been for them, a lot of things, we had programs at church, and we had all this stuff at church, and if it hadn't been for them, we wouldn't have made it. And that's why I thank God that God has placed me where I am today, and that I can do things for people. And anybody that know me know that anytime, I'm gonna tell you this little incident, and I'm gonna stop talking. The other day,
She can talk.
oh yeah, when it comes to God, I can talk.
We-
I ain't no preacher, but I can talk.
We get ready to crank Alma Jean up.
Yeah.
Hey, don't wait to get
Yeah. Other day I was at Walmart, me and Lisa, me and Walter got Lisa. She was going through some stuff, and she was in Babcock, and she came to my house, taking to our house to stay the weekend. So each time Walter or myself would ask her, Lisa, you ready to go home? No. So each time we asked her, so I went and talked to her mom, and that's how we got Lisa. We've been having Lisa about, I don't know how many years, forever and ever and ever.
Yes, ma'am.
But she's our daughter. But anyway, back to the story. It was a lady at Walmart, and was a senior citizen. And I think about how people could walk by senior citizens and not help them, and just see all these incidents on TV and all kinds of stuff. And so I was going to my car, and she was having such a hard time. She had all this grocery. And so I asked her, I said, do you mind me helping you? She said, no, ma'am, I don't mind you helping me. So I helped her put all her stuff in the car. And the catch was, I had a bag in my hand that me and Lisa had bought. And when I put her stuff in the car, I put my stuff in the car. And that was the end of that story. I don't know what happened.
So you don't know where the bag is.
Nah.
But
I guess the bag, she had the bag, but it wasn't nothing important. It wasn't so much important. It was just the idea that I didn't mind helping them. That's the type of person I try to be every day. That,
And see, that goes back to, like, man, we had, because Tab, my cousin, Travis Williams, hey, he used to say, hey man, they used to love to come over to the house because they thought we was rich or whatever. Because mama would when she had them doing yard work and stuff, she would pay them good or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you was asking me and Jermaine, now me and Jermaine, we thought we was poor.
Yeah.
Or whatever, because we had pretty much a whole lot or whatever. We had love and we had stuff we needed and stuff we wanted or whatever. But just thinking back on it, man, we had way more than what we needed. We got way more stuff, because I was thinking about it the other day. At Christmas time, man, I don't never remember. Well, go back. I don't never remember not having a birthday cake on my birthday. She would always, I don't know where she was getting it from or what she was doing or whatever. I don't know whether she made it. I don't remember whether she made it or somebody else made it or whatever. But we always had like a birthday cake or a birthday party or whatever. At Christmas time, we always got presents.
Yeah.
It wasn't no year where we didn't get, like some kids today probably don't get nothing for Christmas.
Yeah.
But at Christmas time, we always got something for Christmas, man. So I can't just say, hey, we was poor or whatever. But we had what we needed, had what she provided for us or whatever.
So we're gonna get silent AJ over here.
Yeah, silent AJ.
So
silent AJ.
Silent Alma Jean.
Yeah.
You've been quiet over here. We're gonna get you involved in the conversation and just.
I was doing real good.
So the question goes back to Alma Jean.
Yeah.
So when you found out, you was gonna be a mother,
when you found out I was coming in the world.
Oof.
Don't lie to us, Alma Jean. Lie to us.
No, my story went a little different. Like Cornelius had already said, I was 17 years old, living with my father, being a preacher's kid. It was a bittersweet. I found out that I was pregnant, and then, of course, it was me and my dad and my sister and my brother living together in West Columbia area. I didn't know what to say, how to say it, what to do. And with that said, he was my go-to person because I'm the baby girl. So I have two sisters older than me. So if he's going to get a grand, of course, it's going to be by my other siblings and not the baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I was scared to death, and that's no exaggeration, but I had to tell him. So he had came home from work that day, and I said, Daddy, I need to talk to you. So he's like, okay, come on in. We was in his bedroom. Come on, come on in, baby, and stuff. And I was like, oh Lord, that's not the right word to say. So I went in the room, and he was like, are you okay? And I said, Dad, I got some news I, have to tell you. And from the expression on his face, I knew that me being pregnant was not one of the things that he was expecting for me to say. So we were there quietly for a minute, and of course, he was like, "What is it, baby?" And I'm scared to death. And I said, real fast, I said, "Daddy, I'm pregnant," and I ran out the house. Like I ran out the house. We had a brick home that had at least 8 to 9 steps, and I just opened the door and jumped down from all those steps and just ran and just kept running, kind of like Forrest Gump.
I was about to say Forrest Gump. So where you
Forrest
run
Gump.
to?
I ran all the way to the end of the street, out of breath, tired, hurt, and all of the above. And so I walked back, of course. I didn't run back. I walked back and afraid to go back in the house because I'm thinking, what is my dad gonna say? What is he what is he feeling? I mean, it was just like the worst news that I can, possibly tell him at that moment. I'm the preacher's daughter. I'm 17. I'm still in school. I don't need to be giving this type of news to my dad. So when I came back, I did not know what to expect for him to say. So when I went back and I peeped in his room, and honestly, he was like, and he did too, like Greg called me by my whole name. and he said, Alma Jean, come here. And so, of course, when I came in my mind, I'm thinking all these things that he was going to say. But my dad really said 7 words: be the best mom you can be.
Man, that's what's up. Yeah.
So, with him saying that, it showed me how much he loved me, how much he cared for me. We all make mistake. He wasn't proud of me, but he didn't put me down like, what was you thinking? What
Yeah.
did you do? He was not proud, but he showed me nothing but love.
I guess that made it a little easier, right?
It did.
Yeah.
It really did, because just like I said, I really felt bad being the baby girl and not and lost.
Yeah.
You really lost. But then when my dad told me those 7 words, like, be the best mom you can be, it made me, okay, yeah, right, Greg. It made me felt better and at ease, because he wasn't raising sand, he wasn't throwing me under the he showed
Yeah.
me love. But I was like, okay, you said that, but what does that mean? What
Yeah, I can
what
see that. You know,
what
yeah, he can
well,
say it,
I'm
but you don't
17
understand.
years old.
Yeah.
What does that mean when you tell me to be the best mom that I can be?
No idea about how to be a mom.
No manual,
Yeah.
no
Mhm.
instruction.
So before you go any further, let me ask both um, heroes this: where did you learn to be a mom?
Well, that was my next thing for me. Um, I during my time of pregnancy, those was soothing words for the hurt, the pain, the disappointment. But it was just something about those 7 words that stuck with me, to say, I have to be obedient to my father, biological, and of course, spiritually. And I felt like without a manual, without any instructions, with my dad and the Lord above, they was going to help me to be that mother that I needed to be.
Oh,
There was no other answer for that at that moment. I still, again, didn't know what to do, how to do, but I knew who could help me to get to that point of being that best mom that I can be. So I watched my dad during my pregnancy, trying to do some things on, getting to the clinic and all this stuff. Um, really paying a lot of attention to him and what I saw, what my dad demonstrated to me through my process. And he didn't do a whole lot of talking and say, oh, it's going to be like this, it's going to be like that, because be reminded, he's not even a mother himself, he's a
exactly.
father.
Yeah.
And so, what I did see and what God did show me was the whole time, with those 7 words, my dad was praying for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What was
For
the
sure.
question that you just asked?
Where did you? Where can you? Or are you able to pinpoint where did you learn to become a mother?
Because I was thinking about my mom.
Yes, ma'am.
She was herself. But we always had a place to stay in that grade, so we always had food.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
always had clothes. It wasn't as if, like you see children nowadays, that there's a lot of children doing without, don't
Yes,
have
ma'am.
food and don't have a place to stay and not getting the right food. But we always had food, and I remember one time, uh, uh, my dad, Tim, he said, and I used to hate it. I used to hate. I was the oldest, so I had to make the bread in the house,
Yes, ma'am.
and then it was 9 of us, and he always said that, like back then, we got a loaf of bread, that we were lucky, but we always I had to make biscuits, and so can you imagine making a pan of biscuits for 9, 10, 11 really in the family?
No leftovers.
And none whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't make bread today. But I thank God for my mom, for her being who she was.
Yes, ma'am.
I learned a lot from her, and I learned a lot from my aunts, her sisters, and one of her sisters, Aunt Rosa, was like the foster parent of Sand Hill,
Yeah.
Batesburg, Leesville, and she would just take children in, and
Yes,
I don't know whether, and I stayed with her a lot, and Rosa, I did,
Yeah,
And I
stayed
think
over
that,
there.
all of us did. Me and my
Yeah.
children stayed with Aunt Rosa. She was a special person in my life, and I had aunts and uncles, especially not my aunts. They're special people to me.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
was a good example, and nobody's perfect, but they was a good example to me.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's why I say I try to be a person that these children could look up to, could come to. I want the children to say, well, Miss Betty did this, came and helped me do this right here. Miss Betty say I could stay with her if I need to, and I would.
Yes, ma'am.
Right today, I have children, will come and stay with me. We can always, cause we slept on the floor,
Yes, ma'am.
and they can sleep on the floor. It ain't gonna hurt to grab a blanket, get on the floor, and go and watch the business.
Some of the best sleep.
Yes, some of the best sleep is on the floor. And a lot of times you wasn't sleep when you were supposed to be asleep, but you was having fun.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
just thank God for all the people that have came to my life, my children especially, my sons. And you don't want to put your children on a pedestal or whatever, but I'm putting mine up there.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm putting my children on a pedestal because they have grown up to be young men that people are proud of, and they don't meet no strangers, and everybody talks about them when they talk about positive stuff. And I'm pretty sure, and that's where Cornelius is just like my son. And I have this young man that live across the street from me. He called me mom all the time. He have never called me CJ. He have never called me anything else. And that makes me feel good. Let me know that I have done something. I'm doing something. I'm living the way that God wants me to live, to have children that have that much respect for you too. And even just this scenario here, that you care enough about me that you think I'm qualified to sit here and talk about my life and be a good example for somebody else. And I'm hoping that somebody that looks at this see that it ain't always the end.
Yes,
You got a mom. God put parents down here to a mom, especially the moms. You got a dad, but it could be and it could not be. But you should always be able to go to your mom no matter what. Just like she just said,
ma'am.
with her dad, she went to her dad. What happened to her? But God worked it out anyway. Because you are a good young man and you got things going on, and so God is God all by himself.
Yes,
Don't need your help.
Oh, and he don't need nobody's help. Then I always believe, I always have faith and believe that God got me no matter what I go through, and I just wouldn't take nothing for the experience that I'm having in my life now with my family and my children and my husband and associates that I associate with. God did, and I
Yes,
know He
ma'am.
did.
Oh, yeah.
I know He did, and it don't bother me that if things happen tomorrow, I will be okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I will be okay.
You ain't going nowhere, baby.
I,
You ain't going.
but
But
anyway,
I got a question though.
yeah.
So you talked about Aunt Rosa. So the first house that I actually remember us having is the little wood house in between
My buddy.
yeah, by Buddy or whatever. That was the first house. So Aunt Rosa pretty much gave you that house, or you was renting it? Why was you staying?
We were just staying there.
Or we were just staying. So she gave us that house or whatever. That's when
Yeah,
I
we
had to.
stayed there until we got the other house up on
Yeah,
it.
I had to
where
get
we
up
at now.
and get wood and
Yeah.
take the pot out, and it would be raining in the house and all that stuff or whatever. But hey, we done came a long way.
But
since
what
that,
so-
whatever.
Yeah, but see that back then,
Yeah.
we were doing stuff then that everybody else had bathrooms and stuff,
Yeah.
and we should not have done. But we went through that. God got us through
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
That night
Oh, yeah.
part and getting wood and
Yeah.
and lighter and stuff that people don't know anything
But
about.
you just retired, right?
Yeah, I
After
just
how many
retired.
how many years of working?
34 and a half years.
So 34 years. So around year 6, 7, or 8, I'm pretty sure there's been times you wanted to quit, but it was that discipline
Yeah,
of having
for
to do
sure,
what you
'cause,
had
hey,
to do.
She didn't quit.
Yeah.
Hey, she didn't quit. So hey,
Yeah.
and that's what I was going. My next question was going to be like, hey, she talked about all these foster kids and having all these kids over to the house. So me and Jermaine, we go over there and we see these kids, hey, doing stuff. She done got soft. She done got real soft now. Doing stuff. Hey, me and Jermaine know we couldn't do.
Yeah,
we know we couldn't do.
Yeah, and they said the same thing.
Yeah.
Greg said the same thing about my nieces because
Yeah.
my nieces are living with me. But
Oh yeah.
but then my husband, he tries to. He easier than I am.
Yeah.
He instead of him telling
Yeah,
me
he's soft as kind.
Yeah,
What
he-
you say about him the other day? Yeah. Hey, he keep the apron on down
Yeah.
there. Yeah, he keep
So-
the apron on down there.
but-
yeah, but
Yeah.
What's unique though, and I One of our mottos on the show is God's plan.
Yeah.
I eat a shirt.
Got the shirt on. Got the merch.
The GP one for Gregory Peterson on this one. It
East
was
Coast.
God's plan, but that's what God gave me
Yeah.
one night, and I texted to him, and he was like, "Yeah, let's go with it." So,
Yeah.
but what I've heard Unbetter Jean say, and I know it's true about my mom, she hadn't really taken in foster kids.
Yeah.
But I look at all my cousins, my first cousins. It's not one of my first cousins that I can think of that can't sit here with us today if they were here and say, yeah, Aunt Jean was not like a mother figure
Yeah,
to me. And
sure,
I know
everybody.
you said Aunt Roses, but I'm close to all of my aunties and uncles, and have been. But when I see the relationship that my mom has with her nieces and nephews, it was always a very similar relationship that I saw her, with me, her very own. And so I hear Auntie saying that, she's taking in these foster kids and helping them, and I always wonder, what is it about motherhood that you trust God? And I got it. You two are both God-fearing
Oh,
women.
yeah,
We can turn
for
this
sure.
into a woman's conference right
yeah,
now.
for real.
But
And that helps some women.
oh yeah, what is it about your motherhood experience that helps you to be able to mother those who you didn't birth? I got it that you might see your niece might come over and but I've witnessed you two young women mother children that don't belong to you, that you did not birth, as if they were your own. I I work in the barbershop. No offense and no digs towards any other these women out here in the world, but I witness women not even mother their own kids. So the fact that you two on a high level can mother and be that loving, that agape love you talk about.
Yeah.
You give that love to kids that you didn't even birth. How are you able to do that?
Before you answer that though, hey, it's in them, man.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
know
in 'em.
that.
But go
I
ahead.
know
Yeah,
that.
go ahead.
But I
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Okay, you want to just
so
tell?
it's like
okay.
this. If Vonda made some cake up there, you don't want to know what Vonda put in that cake.
Nah, I ain't
You
got
just
to know.
gonna eat it.
I ain't got to know.
Okay, okay. But if this was like a cake, I want to
Yeah.
know the ingredients. What is
Yeah.
it that helps you to just pour out that unconditional love?
I would have to say that there's only one word that can describe um, the passion. It's a passion that I have, is to exercise love in full action.
Mm.
Um, I have, it's just something about the word love that I had to just dissect and say, well, everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants
Yeah.
to be loved. I want to be loved.
Yeah.
But it's just that whenever like with Cornelius being my first child, one of the things that when my dad say be the best that I can be, it was like, what is it that I want as a child? Because I'm 17. What is it that will make me happy? What is it that will complete my life or whatever? And that was just to be loved, for someone to love me. And so whenever I had Cornelius, without the instruction, without in what do you do, I wanted to love on my child. Um, and the love on my child, I had to learn that I had to love myself, even though I felt ashamed, embarrassed, and all these negative things. I still wanted to love myself for who God had me to be. And I knew that if nobody else in this world loved me, God loved me,
Amen.
and my dad loved me
Yeah.
because of his open arms of be the best mom you can be.
Yeah.
And so as I raised Cornelius, when Eric came along, same age, I loved on Eric. I raised Brittany and Ebony came along, same age. I just loved them. I mean, one night when I was living in Saluda, and I don't know how it happened, but I had at least a dozen kids like in the house.
Yeah, we
You
slept
know,
on the floor. Yeah,
yeah.
I did that too.
Yeah, and it was because if you walk in love, you don't have to really say anything.
Yeah.
And so I had all my nieces like, Mama, can I go stay with Aunt Jean or whatever? And I was like, what in the world? Because if you really love it and you show love and compassion for people, it'll draw.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
sometimes it to the
Oh yeah.
point where like, ooh, today I don't want to love. It's too many of them.
Yeah.
Actually, when
Yeah.
I got ready to birth Brittany, I had at least a dozen kids at the house, wasn't
Yeah.
feeling the best, and I was like, I went in labor with a house full of kids because we went out to eat and we did. It's just that, in substitution of a person who likes to go out and party and hang out with a bunch of friends. I
Tom
didn't
Tom Club.
have a numerous of friends, and I didn't go to a numerous of parties because that was one of the things of being the best mom that I realized. You made this mistake, and the mistake comes with things got to be cut,
Oh yeah.
scaled back.
Oh
So
yeah.
I didn't have to worry about calling someone and say, hey, can you watch my son while I go out?
Mm.
That was not in a description of what my dad wanted me to be as a best mom. So it just didn't happen. And so instead of drawing to the life of partying and hanging out and all this stuff, I drew to loving on children because I had my son, and even today, I love all people, but I
Yeah.
just love children.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day whenever we was talking about children in general, and Betty Jean talking about foster kids. It was a situation to where instead of Cornelius having two, him and Bonda had six.
Mm.
And so even with the six, and I look back and I said, I know it was only the grace of God. I would go on Friday, pick the kids up. Of course, we had to switch cars because my car wasn't big enough. Take six kids. First night we would have taco night, and then we would have ice cream social. And then Saturday morning we go pick strawberries, and then Saturday afternoon we go to the park, and then I cooked dinner. Then I took them to church, and I enjoyed it. It was just me, the only adults, with six of these kids. And then when I saw where I was like, man, I enjoyed it. I didn't do it with any complaining. I knew that I was helping out. And then when I took them to church on Sunday, then it was like, oh, after church, then Cornelius and Bonner would take the kids back.
We
With
could have left them, but we just,
but at that time, where my heart and the passion was, I was like, wait a minute. Bond was like, okay, I'm finna go home and cook these kids something to eat. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm still trying to help, and I love these kids. So I said, after church, going forward, I'm going to bring the kids back to the house, and I'll let me prepare the meal, and you go home and you just prepare the meal for the rest of the week, and I'll bring them back Sunday, just in enough time for them to take a bath and go to bed. But that was just you have to have the passion and the love to do what you do, and I thank God for it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's a gift.
And
Yes, sir.
that's what it is. It's a gift from
It's a
God.
gift from God.
It's nothing that you can do on your own,
Mm-mm.
because when you have so many people, so many young ladies, or so many women that have children, and you can tell about, because I know my aunt was I was talking to her and she was telling me about um an incident that happened where she worked at, and even that incident happened to me because it's a way that you can, even if that child is acting out, it's a way to talk to you. You are an adult, and it's still a way to talk to that child. You don't have to call them names and call them stupid and um, those things don't work because the child is hearing what you are saying, and so you need to back up and reevaluate what you said when you talk to a child, because a child is a child, and it is
Yeah.
something. A child is something special from God.
yes,
Mm.
ma'am.
Because and God gave you this child, and you need to, even like she said, she was 17 when she had Cornelius, but she had a father in her life that helped her be what she needed to be, even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have so many of those. And I'm not saying that the whole world is full of bad moms and you got these people that's having these children, in which we do. We have these children that they're not being raised right, and that's why DSS is where it is today. And we don't. That's why DSS is got children that they don't have enough people to take care of.
Yes, ma'am.
And I pray when I heard that announcement, I pray and ask God. I said, God, I know you have those people that still are out there that want to be a foster parent or that would just take, even in the baseball league era. We are not amped from child abuse and uh, girls
Child
not
neglect
yeah
and
child neglect. That's
molestation.
what I want to say. Child neglect and you and
Yes, ma'am.
you have this young lady that you getting a check each month,
Yes, ma'am.
but your child is walking around looking like an orphan. That they need shoes, they need clothes, they need all the stuff, and that's unbelievable to me that a person that can walk around and I when I see them I want to do something, but you have to kind of there's boundaries there.
Yes, ma'am.
You just can't go and dip in people's business like I want to do because
Yeah.
if it were left up to me, like the other day I was telling about the incident the other day where the lady fussed at her granddaughter, and I was trying to tell her, I don't, and you in a group of people, and that does to me it does something to a child when you holler at them and when you say you're stupid and you are dumb, you know better than do that right there. They don't know any better because if they did, they would do better.
Yes,
This is a
ma'am.
child that you were talking to, but then you don't you're not thinking because this child gonna grow up
Mm-hmm.
and all the stuff that you done dwell in their head, that's what they're gonna be.
Yeah.
They don't know nothing else but to be stupid and dumb, as you can call it, or whatever. We don't need to call our name. This child have a name. You need to call this child by her name, and or his name or whatever, and stop being so abusive and stuff. And you see children just walking the streets, and you see you hear all this gun violence and all this, and I wonder sometimes, and I don't, I be talking. Sometimes I be talking to myself at the house, especially when you look at it. I try not to look at the news,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
it's hard not to look at the news because you want to know what's going on. But when you hear of 12 and 13 years old with guns and killing each other and stuff, and if it were left up to me, see, it's good. It's good that a lot of the laws and things not left up to me
Yes, ma'am.
because I feel like when you have a child, a 13-year-old that have a gun, when you have an 8-year-old that have a gun, to me, now this is just me speaking. I'm speaking for me. I think the parents should be locked up
Yes,
Mm.
ma'am.
because this child is living in your house. So I need to know how this child get this gun and why you have this child in your house with a gun from the start. We need to reevaluate with our children. So we have lost the control of our children. We are not, and not saying that I was just such a perfect parent because I made my mistake like everybody else did. But
Perfect to me. Perfect
but
to me. Yeah.
yeah,
I say perfect to me.
yeah, but well, my son's not perfect. I did the best I could.
Yes.
I
Yes,
did,
ma'am.
and it seemed like I did good. But it just I feel so sorry for the children and stuff, and that's another reason. In my old age, I don't go as much as I used to.
Yes,
I don't go out in public much as I used to because I don't. It hurts my heart when I see certain things,
yes, ma'am.
and I can't say in the same way because you know better than walk up to some people and just say such like I'm saying now
Yeah.
because it's dangerous. Everybody don't take
Criticism.
criticism good.
Yeah.
Or constructive
Yeah,
criticism.
constructive
And-
criticism good. So
And I
best
had
thing
to-
to do.
I have to tell her all the time, hey, Betty Jean, man, everybody ain't saved like you. These are the conversations I be getting right here. You go on the phone for
He
30
tell
or
me
40
that
minutes.
all the
hey,
time.
everybody ain't saved like
and
you
here
saved,
what
man.
comes to mind just a few weeks ago, it might have been during one of our revival conversations, I'm not for sure, but I learned that we have to learn how to care without carrying.
Yeah.
And so you may see something that you care and are concerned about, but you can't carry the weight of it. You can do your due diligence or do what God will have you to do and mention it to someone, but it's still up to them to act upon it and take heed to it. And I used to hear my grandmother Mary say that word, and it wasn't until I got later on in my life that I knew what take heed to something is. It's a difference between listening to respond or listening to understand. Greg and I will get on the phone and argue for hours, and neither one of us have heard each other. But then later on, one of us, or if not both of us, we take heed to what the other person said.
Most
and
of the
now
time
it's
I'll
like,
be right. He be wrong.
That's normal. That's normal. But yeah, it's taking heed. I think this is an appropriate time to share. You said in just your opinion. This has been my philosophy probably for probably the last 5 or 6 years. For me, I think it involves motherhood. But my theory is when we go back to maybe your upbringing and your childhood, Auntie, um, God showed me just through talking to wiser people. Um, I'm always seeking wisdom and understanding, but there was a period of time where um, mothers were really truly mothers, like you all speak of today, that sacrifice, making sure the kids had what they needed, some of what they wanted, but they definitely were going to have what they needed. And Greg, growing up, watching you providing what he needed, he may not have felt the struggle, but there may have been a struggle. But when I go back and think about what God showed me, it was the fact that there was a period of time where um, either the mother or the husbands that were there, either they left through just they chose to leave or they were deceased or whatever. But the mothers continued to raise the children according to what they knew needed to be done. They made sure that they instilled those values and respect and honor and integrity, all these values and characteristics that we want kids to grow up with. It was imposed into the children. You either got it beat into you,
For sure.
or or you suffer some consequences along the way and you learn from experience, which the parents attempted to teach you through the wisdom, but some kids, i.e. myself, want to learn things through
The hard way.
experience.
Yeah.
But then as we fast forward pop into my mom's era, um, and her and Greg's era a couple years apart,
Yeah.
and then I come along and a couple years, but somewhere in there, mothers, just like the men who either left because they didn't want to be there or they left for whatever situations they left, and the raising of children had to continue, the mothers also left, and kids were still being born and still being brought into the world. But now you got the fathers not there, you got the mothers not there, and who's left then? You either got aunts, or you have grandparents, or you have foster parents who are left to raise these children. And a lot of times, I can only imagine in foster care how many times when we talk about kids' emotions and feelings, it's like broken glass. And you sitting there sweeping up their broken glass, and sometimes you get cut on their glass, and you're helping them try to clean up their lives, only for them to either get it together and go off and be with their families and reunite, or they just didn't work out in the home because they were they weren't too far gone, but they couldn't adjust to what the expectations were going to be at your location. And so now we fast forward our way up to my daughter's generation. She's be 19 this year. These kids don't have a clue or an idea of what motherhood, more or less fatherhood, looks like, because who has seen it in the last 5 to 6 years? Now, I know for a fact you all have seen it because you witness it and you demonstrate it. But other than the average child, we take 10 random kids um, and put them in a room. I don't know if all of them could explain to you what true motherhood, what it looks like, because they haven't experienced it in so long. They'll tell you what grandmother might be doing. They'll tell you what auntie might be doing, but they can't tell you what Greg and I can tell you about what we experienced in motherhood,
Exactly.
because it's been lost. It's almost like it's a lot.
Lost
Like,
art.
no, how many people do you all on the four of us? How many people still canning fruits and vegetables
Ain't nobody doing it. Eddie G might be doing something still yet. Canning some
from time to time?
fruit
I
and
mean,
vegetables.
I'm surprised the
I
bottom
help
of
put
my
stuff
nail.
I help put stuff in the freezer, but
Okay.
I hadn't canned anything. But
I
You see,
remember a point in time where I thought I was gonna have green thumbs because Mary Harris had me popping them peas, and you run your thumb through there and pop them out.
you know,
Like we don't, none of that is being done anymore.
nah, they don't
And,
do
and
that.
so
They go
you
to the
you
store
have
and buy that stuff.
children raising children, raising children, and I think the art of motherhood um, is lost.
And see, going back to like you saying, it's lost and going to the foster care or whatever. It's done been a couple foster care kids that was at mom house, and they be done did something or be mad and they be wanting to leave and all that stuff. And when I go over there, man, I tell them straight up, man, y'all be crazy if y'all leave here. leave this woman right here. Hey, you eating every day. You got clothes. I mean, and it'll just be unreal. This wall here be full of clothes with them. When you came there, you ain't had nothing.
Yeah.
But like, man, y'all be crazy to run away from there. Because one of the little girls, hey, she ran away and she ran in the woods or whatever. And I was over there eating. She had done cooked or whatever. And I'm like, hey, let her stay out there. That means more food I can eat. Let her stay out there. She want to be out there. Let her stay out there.
You got this good eating in here?
Yeah, exactly. And then like now she has her nieces, her 3 nieces there or whatever. And me and Jermaine go over there and we like, hey man, I'm telling y'all right now. Me and Jermaine be like, hey, I'm telling y'all now, hey, if something happened to Betty Jean, hey, we ain't going nowhere, Greg. We're not leaving her. Okay. We're not leaving Auntie. And they know. Hey, they not leaving her. And going back to the question earlier about just loving kids that's not your kids, and that's why I cut in from the start. Yeah. Hey, it's just in them, man. Hey, that's what they do. That's all she know how to do. Yeah. She don't know how to do nothing else. Yeah,
and that's and it's not enough people, or it's not enough mothers with the level of love that you all have in the world. Yeah. So it is a gift.
Yeah, for sure.
And God didn't give that gift to everybody. Yeah. And so I thank you all for doing what you do.
No doubt.
Yeah. I was sitting up in church today, and I don't know, I guess God just, I was listening to the preacher, but then I was thinking about this segment, what y'all want to do.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I wrote this little note. M is for masters of caring for others. This is for me, mother.
Yes, ma'am.
O is on time for when you think you are out of time. Mm-hmm. T is for we all deserve a treat, and a treat is our mother from God. Mm-hmm. H, a heart of gold, and she will spend it out, all of it on her family and her children. E is for every time, no matter what you get into, she will always be your mother. R, right there when you, as a child, don't have no place to go but to God and your mother. And I was sitting up in church and I was thinking about that. I said, thank you, Lord. I just thank God for all the things that help us. And sometimes you get the attitude that, oh, I'm so tired. I was talking about the other day, I told I was just so tired. And I think it was one of the weeks where I had doctor's appointments, the girls had doctor's appointments, and Walter was doing this and doing that. And I was just tired. And I said, you know what? You need to just go in there and sit down and just take a break. And you and God just talk. And that's how I made it over. I got in the room, cried a little bit and talked a little bit. But it's like you said, it get hard sometimes. It get hard sometimes. I'm telling you, it's like with my nieces, I love them. And it has to be something in me for God. I'm 76 years old. What am I doing with 18-year-old children? And in the world, it has to be God.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he knew that he was going to be there for me, and that's why it came that way. Yes. Because it didn't start out that way. Because me and Walter retired, and I'm supposed to be retired. And I always said, well, Sister Betty, what you doing? Or Betty, what you doing? Oh, I'm not doing nothing. You don't want to go to work? If it ain't working for Jesus, I'm not working. I'm telling y'all right now.
So that's where that's
where I get it
from. That's what I'm saying. If it ain't a job for Jesus, I'm not doing it. I'm telling you. And they say you're not supposed to say what you ain't gonna do, but far as I can see now, if it's not for Jesus, I'm not working on no job.
Oh, yes, man.
I'm telling you right now, and that's why I thank God. And it had to be Him to place those girls in my life, but I wouldn't take nothing for them.
Yes,
they get on my nerves. They do this right here because they're teenagers. And what in the world is Betty Sugick doing with 2 18 years old and a 14-year-old? It has to be God. It has to be God. It ain't no other word for it.
You're impacting the world.
Yes. There's no other way to put it, but it's God to give me what I need to deal with these girls at this time in my life. Because, the average 76-year-old, and we supposed to be going to Florida and going to California, but I really don't want to go. And Greg be saying all the time, about go somewhere else. But I don't want to go. I'm just as happy at my house, as I could be.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just content of what I'm doing now. I love quilting. I love sewing. I just love what I do. And I thank God for it each and every day. I wouldn't take nothing for where my life is now. You know, we don't want for nothing. We don't need nothing. Even though it's 6 of us, God provides. God provides every day. Every day. I just, I just think when you have peoples in your life that your children are doing okay, when you have, like my aunt B, she is a Christian-hearted person. When she tell me stuff and say stuff to me, I just thank God for her being in my life. This is one of my mama's sisters, and I thank God for her. And I just thank God that God is God. I thank God for my husband because he puts up with me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm me now.
Carolina Jew.
They call me Carolina, but I don't think I'm bad as mom was. Because mama had so many mottos that she would say. I'm not gonna say what some of that stuff that she said.
I just gonna talk about us because we're on here crying. We figured he'll be the one.
No. Hey, so
he ain't gonna say it now, but
here's the thing. I'm proud of Alma Jean making it this far without having to take a water break, you know. Yeah. But this is what we need more of.
Yeah, this is the true that agape love.
Yeah, like mother is. I mean,
because how you come up with a poem just out the blue in church, listen to the pastor.
Greg, not only that, but these were 2 of the most nervous individuals before we started. When we hit record, I was like, well, we're going to have to pull it out of them. Exactly. And we didn't really just sat back and let you all kind of like, hey, so this isn't the first, well, it is the first time you're coming on the show, but it's not the last. We're going to have you on much more because at some point, I really want to do a few episodes on maybe DSS. I know some DSS
Excuse me, I noticed that we wasn't asked. You know, didn't already decided.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But guess what?
That's the turnaround when the children be the adults and the
children.
Yes,
we in control now.
You put your application in when you said if it ain't working for Jesus, I ain't doing it.
Okay.
So when we bring these caseworkers in and talk to them about the DSS process, because I think a lot of parents, mothers, if they knew what their kids had to go through when they entered the system, maybe they wouldn't do what they are doing. And so not that the kids are in harm's way, but not every child is going to Auntie Betty's house.
That's true.
You know, and so
they need to be
we need to educate through whatever audience or means that we can educate people about what it looks like, what love looks like versus what your child could be getting. And so if I knew that I could go out here and mess up in the streets and I knew my kids was going down the sand hill, it'd be something different. Mm-hmm. But I don't know where they're going to end up. So that impacts me on my decision making if I'm mature enough to realize and I really care about the kids that I have. So, but yeah, we're going to invite you all back on. That was just
I done tried to move back over there a couple times.
You said about the DSS. We have had DSS caseworkers tell us, Miss Betty, a lot of these foster parents ain't like you, Mr. Walter. Y'all spend your last dime, and anybody that go to my church know that I didn't bring my children with their head looking bad and the clothes on. They would tell you that just because you and Mr. Walter do that, all them foster parents don't do that. So that's a good thing that when you said that a lot of times the children, the parents need to know. Yeah, they just don't know that their child. A lot of them is worse off than more with their parents.
They leave a bad situation and go into a worse situation.
A worse situation.
And especially, I mean, let's face it. Some individuals, whether they foster parents or whatever, or they're just relatives who step in a situation, some of them are doing it for the monetary gain, and they forget about the child.
Amen.
And so I've witnessed it. True story.
I have.
Auntie got on me one day when I first started cutting hair. She was bringing a few of the boys up there to get their hair cut. I think I told Greg this. So I remember you brought the kids in. You had the girls, and you had I forgot the little young fella name, a little Caucasian boy. But I was cutting his hair.
I don't know which one. I remember the story.
Did he have red hair? Yeah, he was a red head.
What was his name?
I don't know.
What was the little redhead boy name?
I can't remember, but I used to cut it when I came down to the house as well. But you and the girls and the other kids, y'all walked down to the it's now Morgan's Pharmacy, but the little pharmacy place and got some ice cream or something, and then y'all came back, and I had gave him some candy. He was sitting up in there chewing, and Auntie was sitting over there knitting, and she looked up, where you get that gun from? I was like, oh, I gave it to him. And she just looked, she kept knitting, and she put her head down. She said, he know we don't eat gum. Now, I don't know him, and I know it's not very hygienic, but I put my hand in front of my spit out. Man. I threw it in the trash, put my hand sanitizer, put my hand sanitizer on, and went back to cutting it because I was scared of getting in trouble.
Some things you supposed to tell. I remember the incident you talking about.
Because he called me, he was scared.
I was scared. I said, gee, hey, I almost got in trouble. They said, what's wrong? I said, man, Betty Jeans, I gave that boy a gun. He said, oh, my Lord, you ain't give him no gun. I didn't know. They was going to get ice cream, and, you know, I needed him to be still. So, lesson learned. I don't give anybody in that. Mr. Walter, I won't offer you no gun. I won't offer you any gun. But as we could sit here and talk for hours about motherhood, about our experiences of both of you all. And I have to let Greg speak for himself. But I say thank you for the example, because not only are you a mother to me, but you're a mother to so many others.
Yeah.
And the fact that you've given me so much love, in my mind, how do you have any more love to give? All that you've given me, how do you have any more love to give anyone else? Never mind. Greg already know the favorite. Jermaine the favorite, right? For sure. So
Jermaine the baby, he's supposed to be the favorite, but they say I got him small, but I don't see that. I don't. And what's so sad about it is not on the grade. Like you hear Cornelius, all of them think I got him small, but I don't know.
You do, Auntie, and I'm gonna tell you why. He called me earlier. He was like, "Hey, his little thing when he got on the phone. Hey, man, what you got going on?" I said, "I'm setting up for the podcast. What time y'all supposed to be doing?" I said, "We're gonna start around about 5:00." He was like, Betty Jean come? I said, yeah, Auntie coming. I was like, why? If she wasn't gonna come, you was gonna call her? He was like, if I needed to, all I had to do was call her and tell her she needed to be there, and she would have went. I said, well, okay. Greg said you got that type of power. He said, man. So I'm telling on her. He was like, hey,
it's true story.
He's like, hey,
true story.
I can get her to do most things, but hey, she would have came if I'd have told her. I said, okay, well, we cool. So he's spoiled, Auntie. He's spoiled.
With you saying that, hey, I got another true story.
Yeah.
Hey, about a week or two ago, she got mad at me and Michelle because we was talking on the phone. So she got mad at us or whatever. So Michelle was like, hey, you gonna call your mom? Nah, man, I'm gonna let her calm down. So I say, I'm gonna call baby Jesus, tell baby Jesus to call us. Hey, she'll be fine. Hey, I don't know whether baby Jesus called her or not, but hey, she came over there the next day, everything was cool, man.
Yeah, I had prayed about it because you know, I said they was in just like we was talking, the girls went to the prom, and I just think that's why I said about Greg and Michelle. They went up over and beyond for these girls to go to that prom. And I wish I could show the world how beautiful.
We're going to put the pictures up.
Oh, okay. How beautiful. Well, when y'all see it, y'all see how beautiful. And Michelle was just like, it was as if she had found gold. Yes, she was so excited. And I was just excited to see her and Greg be excited about that. And you know how sometimes you be talking, and I just got the wrong end of whatever, and I was mad. I'm not gonna say upset. I was mad. Yeah. You know, if there's a word for being mad, I was mad. And you know, you go, and when you get in that situation, it's time to go call on Jesus.
Yes.
And I said, you know what? This don't make no sense right here. You just being hateful and mean. Just go somewhere and sit down and let them do what they want to do, because you're not able to do it because Walter's not gonna be there. He got other things to do, and you know you can't do this by yourself. And when God placed somebody in your heart and in your circle to get things done, you need to step back and stop thinking you grown and let somebody help you. And that's what happened. And then they try to talk about me.
So him and I, Greg is I'm an extension of a brother to him, and so we talk or whatever. You know, him and I briefly talk about it. He was like, "Hey, what you think I should do?" I told him, "Hey, call Jermaine and have Jermaine call down there and talk about
y'all need to stop that, Jermaine.
That's what I told him. I said, "Hey," I stopped. I said, "Hey, did you call Jermaine and tell Jermaine to tell her this?" He was like, "Hey, you know what? Let me call him right now."
Exactly.
Let me call him right now. Exactly. So, who's your favorite, Mom? Because I used to think I was the favorite.
Is there such thing as a favorite?
Yes,
there ain't no such thing as a favorite.
Yes, ma'am.
There's no such thing with me as favorite, and it's easier for me because with Betty Jean, she got 2 sons. So I have a son and I have a daughter. So Cornelius, you are my favorite son.
Man, she done took the easy way out.
Brittany is my favorite daughter.
G.
So
Excuse
when
me.
it all comes to that, what happened was I had no control over the night you decided that you was going to be with Rhonda and have CJ.
Okay, now we
So
getting
For sure,
whenever,
that's baby Jesus.
so so whenever they called me, it was Brittany's, my favorite child at that time, 16th birthday party. Um, that afternoon, they called me that morning before the party to tell me, like, you know how I feel about my kids. I love my kids. I'm proud of my kids. My kids are my life. So whenever Cornelius called me and told me, Mama, CJ's here. He was in Germany. That was it. So that kind of like knocked Cornelius off
on Brittany's birthday.
on Brittany's birthday.
Oh my
So
goodness.
Brittany and CJ had the same
Same.
birthday. Yeah.
They have the same birthday, but Cornelius still is my favorite. But he had to share that with CJ. You know, it's just something. It's
Because like you
something.
said, you see people do things that, hey, auntie would have chopped your arm off for.
Yeah.
Man.
But the thing about it is with, CJ, it's not that he's my favorite grandchild because I love him and Ayana life.
Just say it. He your favorite child. Just say it.
Elisa, I didn't get to be a part of her life the way that I wanted to, but God never forgets that. And so before I close my eyes, I know that God's going to allow that to happen because that's the God I serve. But with CJ, it 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 reminds me and it helps me to keep my parenting skills sharp.
Yeah.
He called me yesterday. He wanted to spend the night with me. I called Brett. He's like, "What CJ done did? He must be in trouble. He want to come down there." And I said, "No, he just want to come." And so I'm the type wherever he just want to come, I pray and I said, God, whatever the visit is for, be in the midst. And whatever it is that I'm supposed to do, then I'll do. And so when he came, he was kind of quiet and stuff. And I was like, okay, don't do it. Don't ask him he want to go out for dinner. Don't ask him do he want to go do this and that. I asked him about going one place for his dad. He's like, nah, I really don't want to do that. So I was like, okay, fine. So I just really, asked him, what do you want to do? So he went out and played basketball till he was just like wet from head to toe. And so I was like, that's what he want to do. That's what do. I'll go outside with him. So I went outside with him. Lo and behold, I got into an ant bed, and that ended that. That just ended that. So I went back inside. So I just, he took a shower, and I'm saying, woke him up. I said, CJ, we're gonna watch a movie. And he's like, Grandma, I'm just kind of tired. So I was like, okay. And then in my natural mind, I'm like, well, what did you come down here for if we really hadn't did anything but watch you play basketball and
Crab
whatever?
legs.
Nope, it wasn't crab legs.
Oh, okay.
So I went to sleep. I woke up this morning and I went on the porch or something. I turned around and there he was. So with him being there, he's like, good morning, Grandma. And I was like, good morning. And he just sat there and I said, okay, God. So God began to speak to me and say, you know what? Every morning you have devotion with your husband. You pray. CJ's here. So me and CJ, we had devotion and we prayed. And I said, when I was raising your dad, we would just talk about all kind of stuff, drugs, sex. We picked this subject and I said, so today we're going to talk and I want you to, talk to me because that's one thing that I learned from Brittany, who's very outspoken, is let your children speak what's on their mind or let them know that they have that comfort zone in a parent that they will listen. I'm not saying that they have to be right, but let them be vocal. Have a relationship with your children so that they can come to you and not outsiders. And so we got into a heavy conversation, and I realized that what CJ was going through, guess what? I was going through as well. Changes happen in his life, changes is happening in my life. And we sat there and we talked about the changes. He opened up, I opened up. Here I am, 60 years old, trying to tell this grandchild of mine about my everyday life with my work ethic and stuff. He chimed in, gave me advice. I chimed in, gave him advice. and we sealed it up with a prayer. And then after we prayed, he said, Grandma, I'm going to cook my own breakfast. So I said, cool, CJ. So I saw the smile on his face. I saw the release. I saw the move of God. And he fixed the pancakes himself and the sausage. And I just mentioned it to him coming up here. I was like, CJ, you ain't even saved me no breakfast this morning. You ate it all. He was like, oh, Grandma, I'm sorry. I was like, I had none of the breakfast. But the fact that we never know what it is that God would have for us. And we talk about a lot about our children's and the things they go through and how we can be better people and how we can be better stewards. And the Bible speaks of the laborers being few. So how many people today is willing to have a passion to exercise a 4-letter word, which is love? Because I'm the type of person, I go through my house and I get filled with the Holy Spirit and the Holy Ghost. Oh God, use me mightily for your glory in the name of Jesus. Use me, God, and I get wind up and next week something done bounced up on me and I'm like, oh, whoa, because the thing about it is people have to believe that they can make a difference. We're waiting on other people to do something about this or do something, or how can I help? Or there's nothing else that we can do. There's a lot of work that we can do. And it doesn't fall behind. Everybody has a ministry. Everybody, God has given everybody a ministry, but it's up to us. But it's not in a pulpit. It's not being in position with man. It's being in position with God.
Amen.
Because if you have a passion for children and you're praying, or you have a passion for whatever it is out there, you praying and you're asking God to use you mightily for your glory, and you're sincere about what you're asking God for, He will send those people to you on your job, in the grocery store, at the barber shop, wherever you go. But we have to be willing.
Amen.
We
That's
have
true.
to be sincere and willing. And the thing about it is, we have to stay in His Word, because if we don't stay in His Word and be willing, when you passing through, people are not going to trust you to help, to get the help that they actually need. Because sometimes, you feel like if somebody comes and say, oh, how you doing, Cornelius, and how's your children? And I heard da-da-da, and you start talking, if you're already in Christ and God sends that person through, the connection will connect.
Oh yeah.
But if you're sending somebody just to be nosy, just to get that's why you have to stay in the Word, so you can feel the connection. So with CJ, he exercised me. It's kind of like going back to school and you learned something and you want to update, because I really do, whether Cornelius know it or not, call him Black Jesus, Blue Jesus. I really do. Me and my husband stays on him and talk to him about life itself. And I know, for my husband, he does, man, come over here, let me tell you this. And then his eyes get real big. So I was like, I think it's time for me to go in the other room, because whatever they talking about and stuff like that. And, it's just, you got to want what's best for your grandchildren or your children.
And that's what kids need.
Oh yeah.
They need stuff
They
like that.
need that.
For somebody who had nothing to say, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I know.
And I
They
just
need
wanted, I would just wanted to, just like Betty Jean wrote some things down, and I was just, remember I went back to the 7 words my dad said, be
Future
the
co-host.
best mom you can be. So I was like, that was 7 words. So I was like, what is being a mom? And so God gave me 7 words beginning with L. Learning. You got to listen. You got to lead. You got to laugh. You have to laugh. You got to love. You got to live. And you got to let. And I add the let and made it 7, because you have to allow and let them to be children, but at the same time with them being a child, because a lot of times we want and our expectation from them is from an adult level, but we say to them, you ain't nothing but a child.
Yeah.
Treat them that way.
Yeah.
You treat them that way, and you have to set an example, and you can't beat up on, well, you should know better. I had a situation to where I had to minister to someone on a situation that I didn't understand. And in my mind, I said to them, they ought to know better. They should know better. And I went on, and I'm talking to myself, they should know better. But God spoke to me and says, why do you feel they should know
Yeah,
better?
exactly.
Because that's how life is.
Mhm.
Well, who taught them life?
Mm-hmm.
Who told them right from wrong in that situation? So an opportunity came when I was able to sit down and tell that person and talk to him. And I was like, life is like this, and you maneuver this and that. And at the end of the conversation, that person was in tears and they said, no one told me.
Yeah, exactly. They don't know.
Because our expectation out of people is far beyond what we're willing to give them. And we have to meet them right there where we are. And so that's what I always taught my children, to love, to care for people. I know Cornelius care for people. I know Brittany care for people. The work ethic, they got that from me.
Oh yeah.
But I'm hoping that they will slow down quicker than what I did, because I still work a lot and stuff like that. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's also putting your priorities in place.
Yeah.
And through life of raising both of my kids, I tried to put my priorities in place and did the best that I could. But I will say now to Cornelius and to Greg and whoever's listening, you don't have to really work and live working yourself to death in order to for you to have. If you put your priorities straight in order of the way God would have it and trust him, we will have more time with our kids, more time with our wives, more time with our family members, but we don't trust God.
That's the
We
thing.
don't trust God enough that we figure we have to be on a job. I've been working 2 jobs since Cornelius was 5. How old are you?
43.
He's 43. 43 years old. And January the 10th, I walked off a 22-year job because God said, I'm shutting this door. Because I kept praying, make my better days my latter days, my latter days my better days. And God says, you won't make it if you keep working the way that you're working.
Exactly.
So a lot of times we sit there and wonder why things are the way we are.
We're in our own way.
It's because we don't trust God.
Yeah, we don't trust God.
We don't trust God that you can say, you know what, I'm only going to work this one job, and I'm going to make sure I spend time with my family. I'm going to make sure I spend time with my children, and I'm going to make sure that we can get together and have this family. But everybody is so busy, too busy for one another until it comes to a funeral.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can find everybody there because you take time. You could take time off of work. You can take time and you can have all the chicken and collard greens and everything else you want to eat in there. But we do not, and I'm guilty myself.
So what I hear you saying is we have learned to celebrate the dead more than we've learned to celebrate the living.
Pretty much.
And that's one of the reasons why I retired, man, because me and Bianca would always had a conversation about, hey, man, God don't want us to live like this, man. God don't want us to work
50 years.
50 years. And then after you work 50 years, you turn 62 and then you die.
You don't even get
Yeah,
to
you
enjoy
should
the
be too
American
tired to
dream.
do anything else but
God
sit
wants you
around.
to enjoy life, man. He wants you to enjoy life and do stuff, man, whatever. So hey, that's why that was one of the key factors in me retiring early, so I can enjoy what God has for me.
Yeah.
Or whatever he has for me, I can enjoy it or whatever.
And you know, I told myself I would have retired from the military at 38. And so now I have a planned retirement, if God allows me to see, the age of 52, because I took the 38 plus the 14 years that I felt like I gave the military, but didn't really get anything back from them.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, God, it'll be your will. I'm going to retire at 52. And so I got 9 years to
Glad to have
do
it.
what He has for me to do. And then I'm like, Auntie,
You
if it
broke.
ain't working for Jesus, I ain't
Amen.
doing it.
Amen.
No,
I
I'm
ain't
not
doing
doing
it.
it. And they said never say never.
Yeah.
But God says never. No,
Yeah.
that's not.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not gonna do it.
Yeah.
They said
So,
never say what you ain't gonna do,
Yeah.
but
But
I'm.
I got one last story about
okay.
pretty much a baby Jesus.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to
Tell me
stop.
you.
I didn't want to stop Alma Jean or
Yeah.
whatever. But and I was telling Michelle this earlier that the fact of the matter that the trailer that we lived in,
Mhm.
it was my sister's room, and it was you walk in her room, and you would open the door to go to the bathroom, and you would open the other side of the door to go to the other bathroom. And see, my mom, she probably don't know this, but you would go in my room. So it was pretty much I could walk out of my room and walk into the bathroom. My sister can walk out of her room and walk into the bathroom. So Jermaine probably, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty much 99.99% sure
Okay.
he had done did something where we would get in trouble, and we would pretty much he would probably be outside, but me and Tammy would have to go to the room because maybe we ain't wash dishes or we ain't do something or whatever. But me and Tammy would be sitting in our rooms, and you couldn't close no doors back then, but the bathroom doors would be closed. But me and Tammy we would open our doors to the bathroom so we can sit there and talk.
Had interaction.
Yeah, because you might be in there for out the rest of the day,
Are
maybe
y'all
2
plotting
days.
against Jermaine
What?
during this time?
Huh? So what?
Are y'all plotting against Jermaine at this time?
Pretty much we
Yeah.
was. Pretty much. You know how like the comedian would say, "Hey man, I wish he would die, man. Just kill him." But
That
man,
is terrible, right
me and
now.
Tammy would just sit there and because we ain't had nobody else to talk to, man.
Yeah.
We would just sit there and just talk to each other or whatever, man, because we was all we had or whatever, you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
And because Jermaine probably had done something, man, to get us in trouble, to
Yeah.
get us sent to our room.
But he didn't know
or
any
just
better.
something.
Y'all knew better.
Thank you.
So now you're on her side. Now you're on her side. You always been a snitch, man. You always been a snitch. But no, man, I just, with this Mother's Day episode coming up, I was just thinking about, and I was telling that story because, just thinking about it, it was a good time because, me and Tammy, we would just talk all the time, but we couldn't be in the same room.
Yeah.
We were just talking through the bathroom, man, and just remembering how, she pretty much provided everything for us, doing everything for us,
Yeah.
or whatever, man. And like I say, I don't recall us not having a birthday party or cake or something. Chestnut probably was down there being bad, running around and just doing stuff. And like Alma Jean just spoke on us, getting together for a funeral with her. But then back then, man, we would always get together. We would
Yeah.
always be together. It seemed like if we wasn't at with Betty Jean, I ain't gonna tell that part of the story about what she was doing back in the day or whatever. But anyway,
Yeah.
we would if we wasn't at Mama house doing something, we was always at Grandma house. All the kids would always be together or whatever. And I was talking to one of my cousins a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of them, they kids, they don't know who they kin to.
Yeah.
They don't know their family or whatever.
Exactly.
But Betty Jean made sure we knew who our cousins was, who our people was, because we was always doing something together.
Yeah.
They just my last statement or whatever, just unconditional. I would love to pretty much
And that's the same here. Like I said,
like
starting
well,
out.
say like breathing. Like breathing.
Like I said when we first started, like this is, you all think that's for having you on, but this is more of an honor
Yeah,
for
sure.
us. Before we started, and we began the prayer before we started the episode. And don't get me wrong, excuse me. I know recently here, within the last 2 to 3 years, Miss Carolina passed away, so you lost your mom. And I pray continuously for anybody who's lost their mom. But when my wife was praying, I felt her hand get tight on my hand because Greg mentioned the other day, hey, maybe we need to shoot this episode at another location because how's Vonda gonna feel? And I was like, nah, she good. But I knew why she wanted to pray because she didn't really like to celebrate Mother's Day. I have to make her let the kids do stuff for her because Mother's Day is so hard for her, losing her mom almost 9 years ago, but at a young age. And then she had so many things that were left unanswered. And so I tell her all the time, and I have always told her, hey, I'll share my jewel.
Oh, yeah. And she say Mama Jean all the time.
I'll share my jewel. And so same thing. I know Michelle has Miss Jennifer, and Miss Jennifer, we laugh and cut up all the time when I see her. But at the end of the day, it's nothing like then to have two for one.
Oh yeah.
One was enough for me,
Mhm.
and my mother-in-law loved on me in a very dynamic way as well. She worked the devil out of me, but
Yeah.
she loved on me in a very dynamic way. And so I just thank God that we were able to have this moment today, and that you all really get an idea of when we say we finna shoot a podcast, what we doing. We quit on each other and fire each
Yeah.
other,
Oh yeah.
and but this is something that we have grown to love. I couldn't find a better way to end season one, a grand finale. I am going to talk junk to Greg because I hadn't seen that emotional side of him yet in all nine, 10th episode. And Alma Jean, you gonna get an extra gift for Mother's Day because you ain't cry that much, but you started turning to Reverend Thomas and preach a
Yeah,
little
she,
bit. But
she
hey,
definitely preached.
she
the
turned
sermon.
into Thomas
She
Allen.
definitely preached. Yeah, she definitely preached.
But no, we want to thank you all again. These
Yeah.
flowers are for you all to take home.
Thank you.
My wife is always behind the scene, like Greg say, the real MVP.
Oh yeah.
So she's made you all some gift baskets with some candles and things to just show our appreciation and love for you all coming on the show today. If you all don't have anything to share or anything else left to say, I'm gonna let the Deke take us on home, and he'll do our little normal closing that we have. Do y'all have any words of wisdom or?
I just want to say to all the mothers that's out there, happy Mother's Day to you. My prayers will be with all mothers, that it will be a very special and different Mother's Day for each and every one of you, and those who are active mothers, those who have lost their mothers, that they hold great memories. And I would like to now have an opportunity to say to my mom, happy Mother's Day to you, Mom, and I love you.
I really don't have anything to say. Just happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, and um, to those to what Jean have said, because we have so many that are mothers and not being mothers.
Yes.
And we just pray that God lay on their heart to do what He want them to do and be for their children, because when God gave you a child, that's a special thing.
Yes.
Real special. And He wants you to do what necessarily did to not only do it in life, just in name only, be that mother for that child, because there's so many, and not only your child, the child that you birth, but there's always children that use that
That need a mother.
that need a mother. So just cross on over and be it.
So
And we thank you all for what you have said about us, the good and the bad. And
we said nothing bad.
Ain't said nothing bad.
What,
The good and the truth.
Yeah, the good and the truth. Say that. I'll take
The
that.
good and the truth.
It was a great experience, and I'm pretty sure Sister Jean feels the same way, that we are proud of you all, that God have blessed you all to do this podcast or whatever you call it.
Yes,
And we just thank God that, and we know y'all gonna reach tremendous heights.
Oh yeah.
We already claimed it for you, and
Speaking
God
into
gonna bless you.
existence.
So
Yes,
He just gonna push you up higher and higher, and you're gonna come into rich people, poor people, famous people, and I can already see that God have placed you all in those people past. And just in the time that y'all have been here, I've learned that you have ran across. I know Greg have said something about some young men that they have ran across, and that's what I'm gonna say this right here. I'm gonna let it go. We have and so many young men that getting into trouble and stuff, getting into trouble, and we have talented, and not so much black men, white men also, but black men, black young men that are talented, can sing and dance, and instead of doing all those other negative things, we need to run across our men and tell them to use that talent that God have given you to, because God, you know, as a black person, God gave us music and instruments, and God just got all kind of things going on for the young men that's out there now. But we have to. I'm just praying. Long story short, I'm praying, hoping that God put that right person in their path to make them go and accomplish what He wants them to accomplish.
Yes, man.
With that being said, the name of the podcast is "Doing It with Purpose." What I was saying is, hey, if you're not doing it with purpose, not doing it with passion, you're not doing it at all. And as we can see, as we heard over the whole podcast, hey, these two young ladies have been doing it with purpose and passion. They pretty much all their life.
All their life.
So, with that being said, hey, if you're not doing with purpose and passion, hey, you're not doing with all. Hey, thank y'all for coming out.
God bless.
Good
Good
night.
night.